pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll start off with a public hearing on local law number 1 of 2023. This is regarding how pyramid calculation is done. It is essentially formalizing or codifying what our building inspector has always done, which is measured from 2 feet above grade at the property line to do the calculation. Do we have anyone here from the public who would like to comment on it? Anybody from the board want to comment on it? I'll make a motion to close the hearing. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Local law number 2, public hearing, local law number 2 of 2023. Well, this has to do with tax exemptions for members of voluntary fire departments and ambulance services. In the past, whenever the state has changed its calculation for that, we made an amendment to our local law to follow that. And this time we're going to change the local law to automatically follow the state law. So that's the purpose of this amendment. Do we have anyone from the public to speak on this? Board members? Okay, it's not really controversial at all. I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Local law number 3 of 2023 entitled, well, it's regarding the floor area of pergolas. There seemed to be some people interpreted an ambiguity and how the allowance for pergolas in terms of floor area. And this is to clarify that we're going to exempt a cumulative total of 300 square feet. We had some applicants who were trying to build multiple 299 square foot pergolas on the property. And they were misinterpreting what the code meant in terms of an exemption. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to speak to this? Board members? Make a motion to close the hearing. Do we have a second? All in favor? In old business, we've had a lot line modification for the Gretchen Copying and Corner House at Sagaponic LLC. We're still waiting for something to be turned in. So I make a motion to adjourn this to March 8th. Correct. Okay. I have a second. All in favor? Aye. And we also have the subdivision application for 351 Bridge Lane LLC. They have additional work to do. I'll make a motion to adjourn that until the March 8th meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. New business, site plan application for 1 Potato LLC. Rich Warren, we have the report, which is very much appreciated. Would you like to make any statements?
Sure. This is a relatively straightforward application, although I guess the devil's in the details. They seek to raise an existing residence that's FEMA non-compliant to make it FEMA compliant, put it on pilings. And there are some additions that are proposed to be constructed on this house that's moved back as far as it can be on the property in terms of setback. So the house is just going to come up and then the decks are going to be reconstructed. And then there's some additions that are proposed to be put on there. They're going to replace the existing sanitary system. that's located seaward of the existing residence to an area that is located to the north and west of the footprint of the proposed house. The driveway is proposed to be reconfigured. The entrance to the driveway right now you go down Potato Road, and the road makes a right-hand turn as you're approaching the ocean, and the driveway takes access there. They're intending to come straight in on the property as if you're driving straight down the length of Potato Road. There's a small amount of fill that they're showing on the plan at the entry area, the northwest of the residence. They're going to relocate an existing generator that's located within the proposed driveway alignment to a position east of the residence on an elevated platform to comply with FEMA. From a FEMA compliance perspective, this house proposed to be elevated and put on pilings. I'm assuming, as always, that the building inspector is going to take a look at the plans prior to the issuance of building permit to make sure that the proposed construction is FEMA compliant. With raising a house like this, there's always a question about how they're going to do it. Are they going to pick the house up and move it and then drive timber pilings, which is what you see in a lot of new construction on the ocean? Or do they intend to simply raise the house up on cribbing and then get underneath the house and drive helical piles, which they can do underneath if they have sufficient headroom with the equipment? So if they are going to move the house, I think that we probably need to have some sort of construction protocol from the applicant. There's no detail in the application about how they intend to make the house FEMA compliant. They did get relief from the Zoning Board of Appeals for height, and reading through the decision doesn't really speak to how they intend to construct it. So we'd ask the applicant to provide some information about how they intend to make this house FEMA compliant. Are they raising it on helical piles? Therefore, the house doesn't need to be moved. If they're going to drive timber pilings, then you have to free up the entire footprint of the existing structure, which means the house has to be moved, and then where are you going to move it? Because this is not a very big piece of property. It's only 28,000 some odd square feet in size. So that's one question that I had. There's some questions relative to drainage control. I'll let Kevin speak to that in a moment. They are providing 3 dry wells, 2 located within the driveway, and 1 located to the northeast corner of the residence, meeting the capacity that the village has in section 245-68C. And they are providing a new pool dry well that is near the deck of the swimming pool. But I know there's a number of other questions that Kevin has in his memo. From a landscape perspective, the village requires the applicant provide landscape details with their applications for site plan approval. And on waterfront lots, the code requires that those areas should be revegetated in a more native vegetation. I looked at the historical aerial photos for the property. Actually, you don't have to look back very far. Sometime between 2021 and 2022, the area between the swimming pool and the house has been changed in terms of its character. It appears from the aerials that it was a more native type of landscape, but now it's lawn, which you can see both on the aerials and from the site photos that I provided to you. There is no legend on the landscape plan that's been provided. They have some landscape annotated in red, which I'm assuming is to be removed, and some in black, which I assume is to remain to be replanted. But there really is no detail about what they're going to do other than a couple of notes. So the question is, what are they going to do with the landscape between the house and the pool? Is it going to remain as it exists, or is it going to be modified to native vegetation as the code contemplates? So the board should, I think the board should discuss whether or not they want to ask for additional information from the application. If the board decides that they have sufficient information, I think that you probably should waive the requirement of 245-68C4F. I'm not encouraging you to do that, but I just think that if you've decided that you don't want to require landscape material, I think just from a procedural point of view, you should waive that requirement because it is something that's required to be provided in the code. Another part about the landscape is that there is activity taking place within the right-of-way, or Potato Road. And that's Potato Road is privately owned, at least according to the town GIS, it's owned by 61 Potato Road LLC. They're proposing to relocate the driveway within that right-of-way. They're proposing to move vegetation within the right-of-way. And I guess the question that I had for the village attorney is to whether or not they need to get some sort of authorization from the owner of Potato Road. Relative to erosion sediment control, the area proposed to be disturbed is 26,000 square feet. It's below the threshold for stormwater protection. stormwater pollution prevention plan requirements. So I think they have some details to provide, but I know that Kevin Peterman has a number of things on his list, so I'm going to let him jump and get into the information he thinks is necessary. Unless you have questions for me.
No, that's great, very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Peterman.
Can I just ask you to come up here only because that way everybody can see?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kevin Peterman. I'm a professional engineer with LP and McLean Associates, and we serve as the village consulting engineer. Regarding the engineering review for One Sweet Potato LLC, we offer the following in addition to Mr. Moore's comments. Overall, we feel the submitted plans lack a little bit of detail. For instance, we would request that the garage finished floor elevation be provided on the plans. We'd be looking for detailed grading information at the northwest corner of the residence to justify if there is fill going in that location. That will help us determine earthwork quantities if there is significant fill being brought into the property. We noticed drywall locations are not consistent across the various consultant plans. We would recommend that coordination be complete to make sure all the plans are in conformance with one another. We would recommend that drainage structures be depicted on the erosion and sediment control plan to clearly depict inlet protection where required. We would also request that an inlet protection detail be provided. We would recommend that spot grade elevations be provided along the existing edge of pavement on Potato Lane. We would recommend that spot grade elevations at the proposed driveway be provided as well along Potato Lane. We conducted a site visit on January 26th, and we found evidence of ponding along Potato Lane. So we would request that this ponding area be addressed in the revised plans that are submitted. We also found that there was no detail provided for a grass paver parking area. We also did not see detail for the stone driveway. As far as the dry wells are concerned, the minimum recommended spacing between dry wells is 10 feet. We noticed that the dry wells, specifically dry well 1 and dry well 2, are positioned in very close proximity to one another. An alternative of 10-foot diameter dry wells would be precast concrete leaching galleys. They have some space advantages as opposed to round structures. Also, in reference to the drainage design, we would request clarification on the 2-foot clearance to groundwater, especially in reference to drywall 3 and drywall 4. We would just ask that the applicant demonstrate that 2-foot clearance to groundwater can be provided based on the elevations of the drainage structures. We would also request roof leader downspout details be provided. We would request that a note be added to the plans referencing the vertical data. We would request that the location of the electric service be depicted on the plans. And just, I guess, a final note, upon review of the soil boring, we noticed that ML class material was observed. This type of material generally does not have favorable leaching characteristics, as we would just like to advise the applicant that soil correction may be required in the areas of drainage and sanitary.
I was curious, how deep is the groundwater there? I mean, a lot of the oceanfront properties that we've seen in the past, the water table is fairly high.
Yeah, they don't have much clearance.
Yeah.
Groundwater is at elevation 3, where grade elevation is 11. They have about 8 feet.
Yeah, okay. Any board members have questions? Okay. Come on up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony Pasca, the attorney for this application. We got these lists of materials this morning. We're happy to provide the answers to the questions. That's sort of what we go through that process. There's a couple things I can't answer right away. And one is we can't move house, Rich, so it's only, you pose two alternatives, it's alternative one, which is the house is going up, and we're gonna do the work under it with the oak piles to the extent we can, our engineer says we can reuse the piling system that's there, it may just be augmenting what's there, but that's gonna be an engineering problem for the engineers, because there's no other place to put the house.
So the existing house is already on pilings.
Yeah, there's pilings and grade beams and, but they're gonna have to be lifted, you know, there's gonna have to be an addition put on top of the existing pilings. But yeah, we don't have a place to put the house, so we really don't have a choice but to go that way. The other comment was Potato Road ownership. I've researched this before, and Potato Road is the only one that I can think of that has a fractional ownership, where everybody on Potato Road has a fractional undivided ownership of the road. It's unique, but for that reason, I don't think we need consent from anybody, because everybody has a fractional ownership. I don't know why the town GIS might show just one entity owning it, but they actually all own an undivided piece of it.
How is that held? Is it held by the individual property owners or one
Yeah,
street?
it's part of their deeds, each of their deeds, it's weird. I mean, I've researched.
Could I
it
see a
before.
copy of that, Tony, when you
I
get a chance?
can show you, I'll try to dig out that research. It's been
Okay.
years since I've researched it, but
Because Rich points out, and we confirmed it as well, that on town of Southampton, the ownership of the roadbed is 61 Potato Road LLC. So I didn't know if your individual property owners held membership interests in that LLC.
no,
Oh,
no, there was a separate deeding that went on a long time ago where it was created this fractional ownership issue.
interesting.
So I'll get you what I can dig
Thank you.
up on that. And then we'll just provide an amended landscape plan and an amended engineering plan to address all the other issues. The
Okay.
only thing I'd ask is, if it comes up as we're going through the list, where there might be an individual question, would it be okay for our team to just reach out directly to the engineer just to ask for clarification? I don't know that it will or won't, but sometimes it saves a month.
Yep,
to be able to-
okay, sure.
to just,
Yes.
we could do it either
Well,
through
just
you.
CC me on it.
Okay,
So,
yeah, and we won't be, I promise we won't abuse that. It's just if we need the clarification on something, it's gonna save a month to be.
Yeah, these are a couple of fine points that are on it, Tony, so that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Any of the board members have questions? It's possible to have a public hearing on something like this, but I think I'd like to make a motion to waive the public hearing. There's no need for that. It's nothing controversial to this, so I make a motion to waive the public hearing. Do I have a second?
second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Let's see, where are we? Let's see.
March. Yeah.
What, yeah, okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn this until March 8th. Could I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Rich. I hope you're enjoying yourself a little bit, not all work.
Brian, it's nice and warm here.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, so long.
We'll take the 50. Thank you.
Okay, Southport Land, Land Foundation.
Lane.
Oh,
Lane.
land.
Um,
Sorry.
No, we were at Lane. I have Lane.
Should be land,
Oh, land?
yeah,
It was a quick ad out this morning.
working with. They've requested a 60-day extension to file the mandatory declaration to allow placement of a temporary trailer at the Sacramento Post Office. This is not going to hold up the post office moving because they're still working on getting compliance from the post office people to actually allow the move. So I'll make a motion to,
Who's the South Forkland Foundation?
They own
okay, it's-
agricultural fields.
Yeah.
It's,
They own the property where
Yes.
we relocate to, and it's our deadline, or actually, yes, we put a deadline on them to get it done.
Yeah, I know this. I shouldn't have asked the question. Thank you.
no, it's fine.
Don't be so hard on yourself, Karen.
The lane got me screwed up.
Right,
Sorry about that.
I'll make a motion to extend the mandatory declaration from the requirement to file it within the next 60 days. I'll extend it another 60 days. I'll make that motion.
And there is an actual formal resolution, so you can just
Oh,
deem
there
that
is?
read.
Oh,
Just
well,
deem it
deem
read,
that-
and I'll just pop it
Okay,
in the
deem it
minutes.
read.
And it goes to March 29th.
Ah, okay. Can I have a second? Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Great. Easy stuff. Let's see, minutes, I guess read them for the next meeting. I don't know, they're not all done, right?
No,
And I haven't read them anyway, so,
okay, next week.
yeah, okay. We got the town police department monthly report. I guess, you're ready for
I
it?
am ready.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
always ready.
Oh, all right, I
You know
didn't
that.
want to, rush you.
Yeah, so it's quiet around town, compared to last December. The only big thing is that burglary alarms are down. Fire alarms are down, medical alarms are down. There were 22 burglary alarms. I don't know how many were false. And we had not much else change. Same amount of reckless drivers, 3. The, let's see, traffic stops went up from 73 to 77. And of them, 8 were arrests. And I noticed that most of these arrests are having to do with Montauk Highway and Potsy Bog Lane. So it's people off the highway, I guess, that are getting, almost not in St.
Yeah.
Chronic per se, but. And so that's it.
I think it was the St. Harbor Express or somewhere, somebody got stopped at the narrow lane stop sign and they were picked up for DWI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So that's Sagaponic Road. Yeah, it doesn't be Sag Road. It's Sag Road. I don't have that written. I have Poxy
Yeah,
Lane and Montauk Highway. I have
doesn't matter.
Sag Main and Farmview. I have Poxy Lane and Sag Main and Montauk Highway.
Maybe that might have been February.
It might have been Montauk Highway
Oh,
and Town
right.
Line, so I don't
Right.
have that in here. Okay.
and my son's office manager was popped for speeding last year on Wainscott Harbor Road. Said now that it's 25 miles an hour speed limit, he's going to be late for work every day. Oh, we got letters from my neighbors, John Snow, I don't know if you know him, but he's biking all over the place. And I had a conversation, we were goading each other about biking and what we were wearing to be seen. And he said he likes the speed bumps. And, his wife chimed in, we got correspondence from them. Vehicle and traffic code. Town Line Road from Parsonage Lane south to the ocean. Right now, I think there's seasonal parking, some kind of prohibition south of Daniels Lane. The rest of it is kind of open season. If you look at it, the various construction projects and all landscapers for all the East Hampton people park on our side of the road in this big mud holes, and the shoulder's been torn up, and I mean, at some point, we'll fix that, but I really think we would just prohibit parking. None of our people park there. It's simply the services for the East Hampton side where they have beautiful lawn, well-maintained. All their people park on our stuff and have destroyed it, really. I was looking at the next meeting to pass a resolution to prohibit parking all through that section on our side.
On the west side of town line from Parsonage to Daniels.
Yeah, yeah.
To the ocean.
Oh, to the
Oh,
ocean,
to the
right?
ocean.
Yeah. And actually,
These people can't park. What kind of people are they that are parking there?
well, the
Construction?
construction, I think there were a couple of Michael Davis construction projects where all the people were parking on our side of the road.
There's no room for them to park.
Well,
in-
there is, they just won't, they don't have a building inspector or like ours who says you gotta park on the property. Yeah, East Hampton doesn't require that like we do. And so we end up having the destroyed the, verge because they park on our side since we allow them to. And we actually got an email, I guess our friend John Crane saw the agenda and he piped in that he was all in favor of it right through his neighborhood because of the parking that they don't want. So I don't think any of our people use that for anything.
It might be sending a negative message
Why not?
since we're trying to have them help us agree with things south of Daniels.
I don't. Did they ever change the parking by the beach? I
No, I
don't.
haven't been down there, so I'm not sure if they.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
they
the
said
last
they
time I
did,
went down a month
but I don't know
ago,
if the signs have
they
been
hadn't.
changed.
At the very end,
Yeah,
you're talking about?
yeah, they were gonna draw it up so there was room to turn around.
They did it on paper.
Yeah,
The board passed it.
oh,
Whether or
okay,
not it's how the signs are out there, I don't know.
yeah. Well, that has to go through the highway superintendent then.
No, the town trustees already changed their code.
But I mean, to get the sign changed.
Yeah.
Physical.
This department that would physically.
Physical signs.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure, yes, because I'm sure the supervisor's not gonna go put it in.
Any other opinions about blocking off parking on our side?
Can I ask a question, police-wise? Who is ticketing our side? If we put the signs up, I always thought East Hampton did most of town line.
They can't ticket on the west side. They have no jurisdiction. Only Southampton Town can.
Troopers could.
Troopers could.
Call one up, get 'em down here.
Right.
Just saying,
Yeah. uh-huh.
we could call them up on East Hampton when they all park wrong down at the beach.
Well, if the parking went up there, then our local officers could enforce it.
Right.
Right now, there's no violation.
Correct.
Yeah.
No restrictions.
Didn't pass any resolution to prohibit it. And it is a mess. If you go down Town Line Road and west on our side, along the shoulder, from even further than Parsons Lane, down there where Mesneski.
Towards the highway.
Right.
It's all eaten out. We really need a traffic guy or drainage guy to take a look at it. Maybe we need some kind of a drainage in there or something. Particularly north of Parsonage Lane on Town Line. On our side.
Yeah.
It's all, there's nothing but a mud mess down there.
So was there construction down that way too? Should it?
There was, and I think it's almost done now. It's pretty,
Then you get into parking. for
Um,
Outline barbecue.
Yeah, well, it's not quite that far down.
We have a very active construction site near the corner of where John Westfelt used to live, of Old Wainscot Main Street and Town Line on our side that goes into Flag. And the Flag is narrow and they're parking on both sides actually, but it's from our construction site. I think it started this fall, Rhodey. I might be wrong, but it's a newer flag lot
So that's
construction.
us.
Yeah, that would be us.
We've told the police that there is absolutely no construction site that has the waiver to park on the side of the road, and they should be patrolling them and telling them to get off the road, but I'll repeat myself and I will tell them again. So if it is our construction site, John will take care of it.
No, it's ours. You know what, probably Bill is right. If we clean it up, I think a lot of times when something doesn't have grass on it, it invites people to park on it. I meant construction and such. And we have some spots there that really need cleaning up.
Well, I'm just afraid if we straighten it up and the guys with their landscape trailers maintaining, once you get north of Wainscot Main Street, there's plenty of parking space on their side of the road. The only problem with the road seems too narrow is south of Wainscot Main Street. And if you look at the old houses, I won't mention who built them, but they have a nice strip of grass, which they don't want to get messed up. And so when the guy shows up with his dump truck and his equipment trailer, he parks on our stuff. And if we fix up the verge and we allow parking, it's going to get torn up. I mean, I don't see why we want to fix it and then let them continue to park, trucks and trailers on our, I mean, years ago, that road looked decent. It's just those major construction projects, all the traffic tore it up. Anyway, if you want to consider that, we can talk about it again next week. Take a look at it.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Let's see, the repaving project, I know we've got a bunch of tentative information about it. And Rhodey tells me that we need to approve the survey and mapping work, which is the lead up to the final spec for the job.
Yeah, Jim's on.
Oh, okay.
One down.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you again. Yeah, right now, I gave you some estimates of construction based on the Suffolk County requirements contracts. I don't have the survey done yet to give you final numbers. I did a rough estimation, actually a good estimation. And if you noticed in the estimates that I did supply, I put a 20% contingency in there just to allow for anything that might come up after the survey. Like right now, there's hardly any drainage at all on Sag Main.
Jim, just to correct that, that's not Sag Main.
Sag
it's
Road.
Sag Road.
Sag Road, okay, yes, thank you, Rhodey. But it does have a general flow down to Montauk Highway, and the New York State DOT has 4 basins on the corner. So I don't see a lot of drainage having to go in there. I did get a report from Jim Wilson from town of Southampton that he's had complaints of there's 2 driveways up near the railroad bridge at number 312 and 288 that the road drainage, stormwater is coming off the road, enter their driveways and they would like to see something done about that when we redo the road. So, we shouldn't have the road waters flowing down in people's driveways. So there might be some additional drainage structure at that north end. And similarly,
Jim,
yeah.
were you able to look at the drainage in front of Wolfer? But just south of the driveway?
Yes. I requested the town of Southampton to do a cleaning of the basins, at least to find out what pipes are entering and leaving these basins. They are connected. There's a basin there's a localized low point on Narrow Lane East, probably about in the center. They are connected with the pipe going across the road, and there's a pipe actually leaving out of the back of the leaching basin on the north side that heads towards into private property, and no one has any idea where it goes, but wherever it goes, it's working, because he said it was empty, so we're not gonna mess with that. We'll just let it keep going.
Well, what about on Sag Road in front of the entrance to the winery across from Hildreth?
I didn't see any issues there. Like when I get the final survey done, I'll have cross sections done every 50 feet. If I do find a localized low point that I can grade out and force the water somewhere else, of course, we'll look at putting, some kind of drainage in.
Because there's definitely a puddle on a good rain that's in front of that entrance.
Okay. But I think that, I don't know if that was, because I've driven the road a couple of times since it went on the list, I'm pretty sure I might be able to grade that out.
Yeah. that probably could be done.
Yeah, there's some kind of like maybe French drain or something there already, but I don't know what it's not working like sometimes.
On the east,
On the south side of the entrance into,
on the east.
on the east side,
Yeah.
yes.
There is on Narrow Lane East, there is some drainage work we're gonna have to do on the east end. There's a constant, pretty large puddle in the roadway out there. I don't think there's gonna be much I can do with grading and trying to remove that, so that's really about the only drainage on Narrow Lane East that needs to be done.
Anybody have questions for Jim?
How wide is the narrow lane east gonna be?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How wide was the narrow lane east?
Well,
going?
Well, both projects we're planning to do similarly, past 10-foot travel lanes, 4-foot shoulders.
28,
Excuse me,
28 then?
28 feet, yes. There is a situation we have on Narrow Lane East, closer to the east end. We have some utility poles up there, and we have some, some large trees. Especially
Let me jump in, Jim. When I rode this with him, there's a section of woods, and the woods comes out pretty close to the road, but they're nice trees. They're on our right of way, but I told him, unless you want to cut something down, I told him, we're gonna have to, if we have to narrow a little bit to get around them.
I never cut a tree down.
Yeah, no, that was fine, because these are healthy oaks and stuff, so I think he's getting at it might be a place that we'd have to come in a little bit, but it's not a problem, really. Yeah.
No, the intent is.
Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. The intent is usually you stay 2 feet from the edge of pavement to a fixed object, so we'll maximize the width the best we can in that area. It might not be 28, it might be 26, but again, that's something that I've instructed the surveyors to pick up any trees, poles, utilities, hydrants, anything within the right of way. I need to know what the face of that is off the center line of the pavement. So we can then design around it.
Did I miss the discussion on the width of the road?
I
Was
did-
it that day? Did we discuss the width of the road? No.
Well, I was instructed to, keep going with the 10-foot travel lane, 4-foot shoulders on both roads.
What is Hedges and Daniels?
Well, Daniels, I think we started with the 26-foot. And Hedges is the 28-foot.
And so is Sac Main Street.
That's
Do we need it that wide?
Yep. I do.
It's safer. I mean, the guideline for like a shared use, not like a striped bike lane, but the guidance from New York State is to keep if you want to use the shoulder for bicycling use, they recommend a minimum of 4 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually do. It's surprising, but I mean, I'm not working that much anymore, and I'm around a bit. And the number of people who run through the neighborhood, Jim Pike, who's behind us, a lot of his neighbors make a loop that goes through Narrow Lane East, and a lot of them go over the bridge. They're brave. I do too, but
You mean walking?
walking, running and
Oh,
biking.
okay.
Yeah, there's a number, yeah, I know, there's a number of dog walk, I don't know where some of them come from. I know some of the houses behind me, but then there's a woman who comes all the way from somewhere over in the, what is it, Eastgate or something, because when I bike back there, I see her a lot more in that area. Yeah, there's a surprising amount of traffic these days compared to what it used to be.
I thought Hedges Lane was 26 feet, except up by the Sag Main. Is it 28, Tony? You know everything.
Jim's the one that did it. I realized it. I think we started out at 26, we ended up at 28.
Yeah, it was bouncing back and forth. I believe it was 28, if I'm not mistaken. But this Sagaponic, I don't want to get the road wrong, Rhodey. The one we just did last fall, that was 28.
Yeah, Sag Road was 28. I think Hedges Lane was 26 because we were discussing it, but we'll have to double check.
I highly support the 28 feet. I think what happens if you don't do that is over time you get your verges growing in, as well as the fact, as you just talked about on narrow, every so often there comes a situation that Jim can't get around. So I think it's wise to go with the 28. That gives us fewer areas that are narrowing in. And I think all the roads are incredibly used. And I have to go with Bill on that. It's amazing to me how many people are out on the road using our pedestrian lanes, we'll call them.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Any other?
We need to approve money for the survey and stuff.
Yeah,
Jim, you have on the survey, the estimated cost for the survey for Narrow Lane and Sac Road for a total of 21,400. I'm guessing that's gonna be a little bit lower since you're doing them at the same time. Correct?
No, that was per each price, but it's, you know, it's based on the number of days they'll be out there. It's, you know, you get a certain amount of linear foot done in like a crew day. So those are based on, it wouldn't matter if you did one or the other or both, the number's not gonna change on that. There's just so much survey you could pick up in a day.
So then the board can do a cost of not to exceed 21,400 for the survey and mapping for those two roads.
Yeah,
You see the 21.4.
I added the 26 for Sac Road and 13.8 for Narrow Lane East. See the?
Yep.
Okay. Is it, we're doing the two of them. We're doing them together.
The 13.8 and the 76.
But you've already got that in the works, right, Jim?
yes, we're waiting for, well, I'm waiting for one of my survey crews to free up, but we're having a big problem with the mark out of utilities. When we request mark out of utilities in advance of our survey, so when our survey crews go out there, they can pick up the tone out. That lets us know where everything is underground is. You know, water main or a gas main. When the utility company finds out it's for design, it doesn't go to the top of the pile because they're worried about, you know, a contractor calling up, I'm digging tomorrow, you know, so I need mark out. That's one of the state laws. You have to call one call before any bucket hits the ground to dig. You need to have all utilities marked out. So whenever you try to get a mark out for design, it takes some time. So hopefully it'll be done soon, and then we can get the survey done.
Do you think that we would still be on schedule to have these done
Yeah,
by
Yeah.
April?
yeah. Hopefully by the end of February, I'll have the mark out done, and then the survey can start. Yeah, I'm confident we can get it done.
Got it.
There is another, I will have to utilize an additional Suffolk County requirements contract for Sag Road. When you get close to or meet Montauk Highway, the New York State traffic signal layer has traffic loops. The loops is what senses a car is waiting there, that triggers the timing to start on the light. Both loops, well, there's actually 4 loops. There's 2 loops in the left turn lane heading south, and then there's 2 loops on the straight right turn lane at Montauk Highway. When we do the road work there, we're going to be milling both of them out, all 4 of them out, so those have to get replaced. But Suffolk County DPW Traffic Division has an on-call for traffic signal work. So the estimate that I included, that had sent to you previously, included the total from that contract to replace those loops, the traffic loops, and it's itemized on the account. On the estimate, I should say.
I make a resolution to approve the expenditure for survey and mapping.
Second.
Lori? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
yes.
make that motion, or is there a motion specific that I need to read?
No, you just
That's
need to
good enough.
approve one
Okay, I'll make that
in the
motion.
amount of 21,400.
21,400, yes. Have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Jim, once this survey is done, then you can tighten up the estimates on the road, the rest of the estimate. that we have
Yes.
from us here.
Yeah, I won't send it to you with a contingency. The next time I send you an estimate, it'll be after the survey is done. It'll be what you need to send out for a PO.
Okay. Thank you.
I think we're, what? No.
Well, what's the next thing? The speed bumps.
Oh, do you need the speed bumps?
No, it's the same thing we did before.
Right.
So, I mean,
But you're not gonna do that until after you get this stuff for them.
yeah.
And, well, where are
One, let's see, east of Bill's house on Daniels Lane. As you start to go down that hill towards Fairfield.
they?
Oh gosh.
Crestview, Bill.
Yeah, the people that group on Crestview wanted one because of the speeding.
No, right?
Say it.
One right by my house, another one, couldn't get them to write a letter. The Domkowski's flagged me down and said I want one by my house. People speak past my driveway and they back out of their driveway.
Yeah, my family went from Umbridge Lane and like, oh.
So that's 4, that's 3 or 4?
Right, and then one, as you come over the bridge, the Wooden Railroad Bridge, and you come down a bump before the stop sign, and another one just.
Wait, a speed bump before the stop sign?
Yeah, well, the long type, not SAG, we don't do SAG store, SAG school anywhere else, that's pretty severe. The easy ones like on Hedges Lane, the 25-mile-an-hour ones.
But you're putting a speed bump past the railroad track bridge going south just before the stop sign.
Yeah, about halfway between probably.
I don't think we need that.
Well, I go down that road constantly and the people,
Well, there's a stop sign coming.
they don't stop for it. You need to slow them down. I've watched them. It's terrifying. Ask Alice.
They go 40 miles an hour.
Or
Fast.
more.
And
Yeah.
you think you can turn left because they're gonna stop, they don't stop. They don't stop.
Well, we haven't had the stop sign up very long.
There's still a stop sign.
I'm telling you.
I know, I just like
Yeah.
to know how often you stand out there and count how many people don't stop at the stop sign is what I'm asking.
Well, I
Pretty
go
much
down
no
the
one
road an
stops.
awful lot.
I know, I think
If
if
you
you
want to
stop
stop
watching
and
the car,
count,
it's
you
like,
can.
everyone stops today.
Um,
No, they don't. It's like we love.
We get one of those things across the road ticks, whether we can slow down or stop or whatever.
I don't know.
And that way you would know.
I'm not-
Brody,
Yes.
I just sent you, I previously sent some suggested locations. I just sent you an email with those, it's like a map view with a little red line on them. This was before I had finished talking with Bill. I didn't really know where some of these were gonna be placed. But that we can talk about that too, or when we get closer to the design, but I mean, when I was told Crestview is gonna get one, Daniels is gonna get one, North Narrow Lane East getting two, Sag Road two. I drew up on some areas where I think they should go. So hopefully you got that email. I thought I sent it previously,
Oh, I saw it in there.
you know, based on the location of driveways.
This one's up here, is on Crestview.
Yeah. Oh, you brought it up, okay. Yeah, that's the Crestview one. I tried to keep them away, as far away from any actual houses as possible, but in a location where it would help calm traffic.
This is Narrow Lane.
I mean, we could talk about these and move them, but this was just a starting point.
So the red dots are where they're going?
Yeah, the little red line is where I suggested putting them in. So those are the two on Narrow Lane East.
So Sag Road, there's gonna be one before the stop sign going south, just after the bridge, and one going north before the stop sign, before Narrow Lane.
Well, Jim has them to pick.
I have them a little different.
Oh,
This is before, you know, this was,
wait, is it his suggestions? I thought. they
yeah, this is just suggestions where I thought would they would be best. So Bill, you're talking about moving the one on Sag Road north of Narrow Lane East. Right over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Right there.
All right,
It's the wake up call for the stop sign.
okay. Gotcha.
At the school,
Huh?
it works at the school.
Yeah.
And the other red one is in front of,
I like that.
Oh,
Wilford's house. The other red one's in front of Wilford's house.
oh, yeah. Huh.
Yeah, just at his driveway.
Yeah, I would have put it before that.
Actually, no, here's Wolford right here.
Oh,
This is
no, that, oh.
just,
Yeah, near the Jerry Bauer
The
field.
field.
yeah.
I think that's where the neighbor there, that's where he wanted it. We got a letter from, what was the guy's name? Rogan, I think. it
Oh,
was?
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
this
think
guy
he
right
wanted
here.
it there. I thought it should be back further,
This
but
guy right here. He wanted it.
I don't know. I thought that was close to
So is
somebody's
that the
house.
wake up call for the highway?
Well, it's just, I don't know, people, they just want to go fast and
Just something to spill their coffee, that's all. It'll-
those long ones really don't, they're not that bad.
No, but they're there, they do slow down.
I think the sign does as much as the speed bump, really.
Um,
But, you know, coming from Sag Harbor, you go to Sag.
Sorry.
Harbor.
All the time.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
I'm 40 and I got somebody on my bumper and once in a while they get brave enough to pass. And coming the other way.
And where is that happening?
On Sag Road, going through the woods, you got a little bit.
North
straight-
of the
North.
bridge?
Over in the Southampton, yeah, going to Sag Harbor. You don't get tailgated? How fast do you drive?
The speed limit.
I travel that route taking Georgia to school almost every morning and people are definitely passing me, as well as I'd say, I don't know, every third day, I time it right that I see someone go through the stop sign.
Double lines, double yellow lines on that road?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, but they just take the chance and they pass you. The same thing happens on Daniels and other ones, you know?
40 isn't that
If
slow.
you own a
Yes,
Range
but it's
Rover,
25 on that road.
But not on the Southampton part. It's already.
Well, that's true, on Sag Road, over the bridge.
Where they're
north
putting
side of
all
the bridge.
those new telephone poles too close to
Yeah.
the road in?
right,
Yes,
Yeah, there's like 8 of them
There's more than 8.
or 15.
with all those
Depends on what-
More
reflectors.
than that.
It's
Yeah.
like just,
One is exceptionally bad because I almost ran into it, so.
Where is this? This
On
in-
Sag
On the
Road.
north side of Sag
Sag
Road,
From the bridge all the way to Sag Harbor into the village.
on the left side, on the west side. Mostly.
They're really close. You're right, Carrie, to the road.
Yeah. I might have been going a little over 40 on that one.
that's why they've got those reflectors, you know, these long yellow reflectors they have on the telephone poles now.
Yeah,
Well, Bill, may I make a suggestion? The next time I'm out there, I will give you a call and we could actually go out and actually pinpoint these locations.
yeah,
Because the estimate I gave is based, it doesn't really matter which road they go on. It's 6 locations. Each location's gonna be the same price, so,
right,
that's
okay.
Yes. Yes.
okay?
Mm,
More questions?
I know.
I guess we're through it, Jim?
I think so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks,
you're
Judy.
welcome. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.
You
you
too.
too.
Assembly permits.
Yeah, that's me.
Assembly.
So,
Yeah.
we don't have a permit application yet, but we have a letter of intent by the wildlife who are they? Ellen
Wildlife Rescue. I think.
Wildlife Rescue. They want to have a special event in Sagaponack on June 24th, a Saturday from 5 to 8, 250 guests at the Mizell property. Is that Doc Daniels?
It's off of Wilkes,
Hedges.
which is off of Hedges. It's on Hedges off of,
Hedges
it's on Wilkes, off of Hedges, sorry.
on Wilkes.
So they do that at the sculpture thing?
The sculpture.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and this is like the, I guess, the first time that they have asked to do this. And so I guess the only problem might be parking, Rhodey.
Which I've already told them
Talk
they
to them
couldn't,
about.
they're not gonna be able to park on Wilkes Lane, they have to provide a parking plan for us. So, and the chief, Sergeant Schottenhamel also got a copy of this and he agreed that they're gonna have to provide some sort of parking plan.
Okay, well, then they will be forthcoming with the permit,
Yes.
right?
And as you can see by the receipts, they notified the neighbors that they're having this event.
And that's what that's for.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything from anybody. So let's say that we still won't, but that's the intent of the letter of intent first. So if there is an issue with it, it can be addressed before they send out their invitations.
Any questions?
It's a lot of people.
Well, we'll wait till you see the next one. 250 guests, I guess, are they having tents? Did they, oh, they don't mention it.
Right, I'm sure they will, but
Yeah.
we don't have those details yet.
Yeah. And the other one is the Bridgehampton Half Marathon. They've been doing this for a while here, and it's on May 6th, Saturday from 9 to 12, with 600 to 800 people involved. 20 to 25 volunteers. It benefits the Stony Brook Hospital and Bridgehampton School. They start staging at the Bridgehampton windmill, I'm sorry, at the windmill in Bridgehampton. And they eventually come down Bridge Lane, Cemetery Lane, Gibson Lane, Daniels, Town Line, Parsonage, Sag back down Bridge. Get that?
I got it.
Is the police department, they okay these things.
Oh,
huh?
sure, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
That's a whole lot of area.
That's a lot of corners.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
One year, and it wasn't this one because it was in the summer, I think, but I had to wait 45 minutes to
Yeah.
get home. And I was like waiting, the
Yeah.
real estate agent, I had to, like, I was showing a lot of houses. I was so mad.
They don't block all the roads. I think the only one they block off completely is Ocean.
They've been better. That was
But
quite
yeah.
a few years ago, but that was like, really.
Because on the other hand, my
They
daughter
end
ran
up
into
driving
one year.
5 and 6
completely
abreast.
traffic going through, so it's depends on what's on the bench run.
So should we vote on this now or not?
You can wait till next week.
We'll wait.
So I guess the next thing is the fee schedule for tent permits. Somebody said $100 is not enough.
That would be me, Bill. That's what I said.
Okay, well, I didn't want to stick it on you unless.
I agree.
Yeah,
we-
that's
I think-
always nothing these days.
I think we touched on this before. And I did some research. And I don't have it with me, so I apologize. But we charge $100 for a tent permit, whether it's one tent or 300 tents, it's $100. So, and after the tent we had last year there before, we started to talk about it, but we didn't finish. So my suggestion would be to charge $150 for the tent permit application, and then an additional $50 per tent. So if you have 2 tents, it's gonna cost you $200. If you have 3, et cetera, et cetera. Or if you don't want to do it that way, to raise it to $250 for the application. That's my suggestion. What else, Tyler?
Well, how about, the size of the tent would be more or less?
No, because then
or
that gets into too much,
Figuring out.
yeah. I'd just like to make it simple.
Let's make it 500
You could do that. Our seasonal rentals.
for over X amount.
Well, our seasonal rental permits are $250. And that paperwork probably takes, the tent application takes more than it does to process the seasonal rental for my office.
Wow.
You're talking about like, what Potsy Blog puts down, the seasonal rental?
No, what I'm saying is the
No.
seasonal rental permit that we issue
For-
costs
for-
$250. I'm doing a comparison. And
Oh,
the time it takes my office to process that application is shorter than it does to process a tent permit
Oh, oh,
application.
and why is
And we're
that?
only charging $100 for that,
Why is that? though?
because it's just more, there's more moving parts. on
Oh,
the
I
tent
see. You're
permit.
just saying that it definitely should be much more money. because
That's
it takes
exactly
much
what I'm
more time.
saying.
So let's make it
Exactly.
300. Any more than 1 tent, it's 200 per tent. And any tent over X amount of feet is,
I'm being
You're
conservative.
talking about a profit center. It must be. a
I'm
But
business.
remember how many tents people want to have sometimes. Carrie has a good point.
Well, that's what I'm saying, so charge per tent, so. if
Per
you
tent. Yeah, I like per tent.
a permit and you're only having 1 tent, it would cost you $150 or whatever price you want to put on that application. And then every tent thereafter, it's gonna cost you $50 a tent.
regardless whether it's a cook tent or another 20 by 60 tent.
Because it doesn't,
$250 a tent plus $50 for every
I was
additional
thinking
tent.
exactly. the
There you
same
go.
thing.
so $250 for the application.
Ooh.
This is what you know.
Tent application,
And then
And then
50.
additional-
Round numbers, like
250 plus
300 and 100.
plus every.
Each one is
each, whether it's a cook tent or what.
Yeah.
It's still,
Well, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Because if you need the permit, then you
You
need,
still gotta-
then it's $50.
Is the fire marshal, does the town, and he charges a fee too?
No, they don't,
Oh,
no.
when they
They,
find out what we're charging, they'll
They're
start
gonna-
charging.
oh, they charge what, on their permits, they do it a little bit differently. And if you're gonna, they charge a fee for the cook, you know, whatever they're putting in the cook tent, and
Oh,
so
yeah, yeah.
this $250 and $50 for each tent is not unreasonable.
I don't think
Especially
so.
what they get for a tent.
That's
What about 250 and 100? I mean,
Well-
why fool around?
I agree. I mean, remember we had one event last year with 11 little tents. It took a lot of time and effort for our office staff.
I think
I
it
don't
should
want
be at
anything.
least a flat fee per additional tent.
Right.
I mean, a flat fee for a tent and then 50 bucks for
two-
every additional tent.
250 for the application would get you 110. And then,
Additional tents would be,
so if you've got 3 more tents, that's gonna cost you another $150, so it's gonna cost you
right,
$400 for that tent.
There you
$500 for that
Yeah, I was
tent.
gonna say it that way.
Is that enough to cover the cost of your time?
Oh, yes,
Oh, okay,
it will. So you want to run it that way, and then
yeah.
it's,
Next year, we can always up it.
this is true. I don't want to kill them too
Yeah,
much. It only costs
They want to have
$100.
another one in Matt closed this year, because I see in the paper, they sold their property in East Hampton for
Oh, Matt closed it.
18 million or something.
Yeah, they used to have that bench.
35 million?
Yeah,
Oh, my
a
God.
different Maclo. I mean, the same brother.
Yeah,
A little bit of a markdown, though, right?
yeah.
A little
It
discount.
was originally 50.
I think $1,000.
Oh, they got steal it. They
Yeah,
steal
you
it.
know.
Stole it for them.
So I'm sorry, what was the final 250
And 50,
and 50
250 and 50. Okay,
Addition.
addition?
yeah.
I think that's good.
So that'll be up for adoption next week.
Or you could do it now.
Soon as Brian gets it.
Do it now, do a resolution to amend the fee schedule to charge $250 for the first tent and $50 for each additional tent.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Here we go.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bunch of financial stuff to look at. Got stuff to sign next time.
Right, so at the bottom of all that, you'll see you also have the certification of unpaid taxes. I think we'll do that next week as well. Which is a one holdout. I got one property hasn't paid in 3 years. When can we acquire this property, Roy?
Yeah, I wish, really.
Beachfront
It's on
Park?
219, is it?
It's down on the end of Crestview,
Oh,
Falcone.
The very end?
Yeah, yeah. Bill Falcone, I think that's his name, yeah. Hasn't paid in 3 years, but I believe he's in bankruptcy and foreclosure and all the above.
So the county must have their county liens too.
Sure, I'm assuming he hasn't paid his town taxes, but I mean, ours is piddlings compared to theirs, so I would imagine that he hasn't paid theirs.
And we don't auction our properties,
We do not,
right, or our tax liens.
we do not, we hold them.
Okay.
Oh, we're gonna get Phil Falcone's property.
Well, that would be, you know, have to
Oh,
go
what?
through the courts and probably battle it out.
21 million, so.
But I thought they had somebody, I had gotten activity like in October, November last year. But I haven't heard anything since, because I'm sure these take a while, even if they did get
No,
somebody
I
to
think
buy
it
it.
fell apart because I saw it on the market again. So I don't know the specifics.
Got it. No, anyway, didn't pay.
is there something we need to approve now?
You don't need to do it now. We can do it next week with finances.
Okay.
Yep.
Are we done then?
Board
Board reports.
committee reports. Lisa, Bill, and Marilyn.
If you're one, I can do architecture and historic review board.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, the meeting was January 23rd. 181 Parsonage Pond Road, which is construction of a 2-car garage and trellis. We'll go on to the committee of 2 next month because everybody basically feels positive about it, but there's always little details when it has to go on to the committee of 2 that are missing for the office. 332 Parsonage Lane was adjourned. The applicant needs to work on glass, which was discussed, glazing, and a landscaping plan.
Is that for your house?
Pardon?
For a house?
That's for construction of a two-story, single-family dwelling, yes. And the next one is One Potato Road, which was discussed earlier in your meeting today, and also was discussed in zoning that I talked to you a couple months ago. They were adjourned to next month in reference to glass. There's 67% glass on the north and the south side. And when it raises up, they're going to have to add some addition work on it. So the glass is the main discussion right there. Because if you've walked from Town Line Beach north, I mean, either way, east or west, that house is very visible now. So when it's raised and the fact that they have to add a little and add more glass in the process, it's going to be quite noticeable. So that has to be worked on. 569 Daniels Lane was approved for demolition. It was built in 1978. It is non-historic. Then the next item up on the agenda was discussion for what the applicants would like to put on the property. They proposed a 5,236 principal structure, which is pretty reasonable in today's discussions that we have off and on, with about 1,100 accessory structures. They have 25% glass in the front, and the back glass section glazing will be discussed, but it's good to hear the 25 in the front. They have a design issue being discussed also for next month, is an exterior staircase that kind of comes up on the side of the house. The architecture board is looking for that to visually be minimized. It's quite apparent. So that's adjourned to next month. And the last item on a fairly quick agenda was Gretchen Topping's Corner House, Sagaponic LLC, on the corner of Sag Main and Gibson. The house was built in 1901, and the owner Gretchen is looking to put a wraparound porch, and it was a discussion item, not an actual item on the agenda, on the north side facing the paddock, which is the plainer side of the four sides of the house. The board felt very positive about the plans, and so Gretchen will proceed and get things drawn and applied to the board on a regular basis. But she was concerned that she wanted to have a discussion first, being that it was historic, and she didn't want to get too far into it, with plans and stuff, until she was sure the board was happy with the thought. So that was that. Zoning board happens this coming Friday, and there's one item on the agenda. And it's been discussed previously on architecture in the discussion item area. It's a small little white Victorian house. As you turn the corner by Klebnikov's, that's on almost a negative lot. And on Friday, they'll be discussing an area variance for a principal structure that would be set back at 43 feet. And many times the zoning board discusses historical building setbacks. Back in the old days, the old buildings like that were not always placed where our current rules are. So we'll see what happens on Friday, and I can tell you next week. That's it.
Is on Bridge Lane?
Yes.
Yeah, on Bridge Lane. It's the little white Victorian.
Yeah,
Seward's
okay,
old house, Seward used to live.
yeah, okay.
And it has a very negative lot, because if you walk in there and been in there, the back, I don't know, the back lot, Marilyn, what is the back door? It might be 20 feet on behind it.
No backyard at all, it's pushed off.
Yeah, it's none whatsoever. And it has what I used to have on Gibson Lane, but when we renovated, had to be removed. It has an above ground cesspool cap in the old days on the buildings that didn't have heat and were only used for summer.
Right.
So they're going to have to move a little, and that's what the zoning is going to have to work on, because it's just, I'm sure years ago there was more land behind it, but maybe it got cut off when the Sewards split those houses up, because they also owned the corner on, house on, Bridge Lane and Sag Main there, that other old house. So maybe the family divided stuff up over the years and that little white one just got shrunk down to virtually no lot. So we'll hear more. So that's that.
Thank you. Bill, is there?
The only thing I have is, well, we've already discussed what the road situation is. It's well underway, but I would like to have Mr. McCardle put a few of those reflectors back. They've been run over over the past couple of weeks. And, you know, people trying to avoid the speed bump.
Oh, back to speed.
You know,
Okay.
and I would like him to take a look and see if he thinks we should have them on the Hedges Lane speed bumps too, because for snow plowing reasons. If he doesn't think we need them, like, you know, but we should, you know, it's easy enough to put them in the ground and replace them if somebody runs them over. That's all I got.
Let's see, Marilyn, you're going to some environmental thing and you signed up too,
Yeah,
Sharon?
when is that?
The 16th, right? Is it the 16th?
February 16th.
What day is that?
Didn't do that.
Thursday,
Uh,
next Thursday.
yes.
So we'll report back.
Okay.
I can track this back. Okay.
Yeah, one of my things on my future agenda is really I don't think legally we can force people to do a better job of landscaping, say for pollinators and all that kind of stuff, habitat for birds, wildlife and all that. But I think maybe somehow we could promote that. I know somebody wanted to do a pollinator garden here, and I guess that fell apart.
No, Bill.
Oh, it hasn't?
No, we're still gonna do it.
Oh,
We're
okay.
gonna make sure it gets done. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. It's just that, you know, we ran into winter.
Right. Okay. No, I'm not criticizing. I'm just,
No, I think that's.
No, I'm just saying that.
Is there a bee colony north of here on Sag Road?
I mean, honeybees?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different places, but I'm not sure. I can't remember if I've seen them up
Well,
there.
I think you're supposed to pay attention to that because you're not supposed to put the bees too close to each other in the colonies.
Oh, really?
I don't know what the distance is,
Yeah.
but
Are you gonna do bees? Do you do bees?
my nephew does them right up the hill between Robbie and myself. And
Didn't Joe Lockheim have some?
yeah, I think the Lockheims did. I got some honey from them.
Nice.
But someone came to me and asked if we could put a honeybee thing on our property. And I said, no, because it's too close to
Oh,
Andrews, which is, you know, right across the field.
right.
And I don't know, maybe there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, Google
Different zoning involved in Sagapon.
it.
We need a variance if it's too close, right?
Might need a variance.
Design consultation on the shape of the beehive.
Yeah. That's part of the ARB agenda.
Yeah.
Oh, at some point, a while ago, Bill and I was pushing him about the porta john thing at the
Oh,
bridge.
yeah.
And he suggested, see, I kept thinking they need to be out in the open. He said, well, there's all kinds of brush growing back in there. If you put it down by the launching
If
ring,
we backed it in,
it's out of sight.
yeah.
And I would build a board fence around it so it'll disappear. Anyway, I actually put a stake down there with a ribbon on
I
it.
saw that. I saw
Yeah,
that.
if you want to take a look and see if that would be,
And this is for a permanent porta john?
yeah.
Because there is a porta john there. Oh, maybe not now.
No, there isn't one. at
In the
all.
summer there is.
Never has been there. They had one down at Main Beach.
Oh, wait, I thought that's where you're talking about.
No.
As you go over the
launching
bridge.
ramp at the bridge.
Wait a second now, where is this?
Sag Bridge, where the launching ramp is, where people kayak and paddleboard and all that kind of stuff.
I think the porta-john at the beach is close enough for,
It's not there.
well, let's put one down there then.
It's not our property. It's a
Were we
town's.
gonna contact somebody to see if we could have that put back?
I asked, but I never got a response.
They don't, yeah. Maybe we should ask again. That was there for a while.
Yeah, they pull it at the end of the swimming
Yeah.
season,
Yeah,
but people are down there all the time.
yeah.
What brush are you talking about down by Sag?
We're
Bridge?
talking about as you come over the bridge,
Going north, going west.
going east. Where that little ramp is, where the kayakers and the fishermen and everybody.
Yeah,
Bill thought maybe we should have a porta potty. And I thought, I didn't want that to be the first thing you see. as you
yeah, I am
decide.
absolutely against that, totally 100%.
I don't want to put a party there either.
Especially right there. I don't mind a porta potty being hidden somewhere, but that is an historic bridge. You do not want to even think about a porta potty being close to it, let alone
It's-
seeing it.
Something's needed there. Talk to Mary Lee. She farmed there, and just ask her what she sees.
Yeah, I don't,
You know, you look at pollution in the pond, and they find fecal matter in there from dogs and people, and that's one of the places this comes from.
Yeah,
we put a little sign saying, straight ahead to the right at the beach is is our porta potty, please use it. No porta potties at Sag Bridge.
There's a definite need for it. Not only the people who use it, but the people who work here.
But it doesn't have to be at the bridge. I mean. it-
Tell me where.
That, it's a good,
Think
it's
about
it's a shame we don't have a municipal bathroom. It is, it's
put
it's
it
a
on
shame. but
mattresses
it's-
probably.
I was thinking,
Meditation.
and this is probably not legal or whatever, but I was thinking everybody who has a construction site, maybe we have to oblige them to also put a porta potty outside this construction site so other workers can use it. I mean, I've been thinking, because I hear your point, Bill, and I appreciate what, very much where you're coming from. It's just hard to, think about having a porta potty in one of the most beautiful spots. Bridge Lane used to be so beautiful, and now with those ridiculous telephone poles, those tall telephone poles and the fence isn't as bad as the telephone poles. It's just to have also a porta potty, it's just really.
There couldn't possibly be any sewers leaking into the pond
There's
somehow. or
plenty of
other.
that too.
Well,
From the
let's get
bridge
on
exit
that.
side.
So that's,
Let's revisit, the recreation, is that the recreation department, the
Parks and Recreation.
Parks
yeah.
and Recreation?
a friend of mine was after them for 15 years until he died trying to get stuff down there. They wouldn't do a darn thing.
Yeah, but I
He
got
went
the,
through,
got the picnic
you
tables there.
did great,
What did
yeah.
you get? What'd you get?
Picnic tables.
Picnic tables.
And where we
Yeah,
are.
that was great.
That's like me.
I love those picnic tables.
Yeah, they use them
You
all
did
the
that?
time. Yeah.
Well, I just asked. I mean, that wasn't a big,
Right.
I just sent an
And
email
they,
and they did it.
and they did it.
Pound the table.
They're like they're on the platform.
Oh,
with-
up on the-
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
And
even
they're
notice.
great.
They originally had metal ones out there and they rusted and fell apart. They took them away and they never put them back. Yeah,
But now there's another one back.
well, they put 4 of them out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wooden ones.
Yeah, let's revisit that for a porta potty.
Yeah, but it doesn't service the help. One of my son's guys, Alice was talking with him, and he had noticed that, and somehow it came up that he didn't realize that the village had put it there. And he's in touch with everybody else in the Hispanic community who work out here. And he said, oh, that's great, because my friends who do landscape work, they try to go to like a construction site and use theirs.
Right.
And they're either turned away or told they have to pay to use the bathroom. And I had no idea, when you talk to people, you find out these things.
Right.
But, you know,
Maybe
it's
that
just,
should be on the permit,
What?
allowing others to use the portage on.
yeah, I think the village needs to take care of that stuff.
We do own Sag Main Street to the ocean. At Sag Main. You could put one right down there.
Sag Main to the ocean.
You know, you need to put it where somebody's gonna
Street
use it.
itself, Sag Main.
Oh, straight to
We
the,
actually own that portion there, and then the stuff to the right is what the town owns.
oh,
So if you want to pop it up there in those couple of little parking spots.
Huh, I didn't think, I thought, isn't there something about that culvert? The town has something out to the culvert, but that we actually own the straight down?
We paid to put that culvert in, so.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting, but that doesn't service the workers.
Not unless they drive down there.
Yeah,
if they know that it's there, maybe they'll come.
yeah, in the winter, but in the summer, you can't get through there with a
Right.
landscape trailer.
We have to get through there.
It's gotta be on a through street. I don't know, I'll tell you right now, this is a hard thing with me, doing something down there. And you've got a one-term mayor, I will not run again, okay?
What?
I know you're.
What are you getting upset about?
It pisses me off that we live in a snotty community, not you people, but the workers get mistreated. And I've been in that, I don't know if your son gets any of this, because there's a lot of disrespect for people who do maintenance work on properties.
We
I'm not
don't
pointing
have that
anybody here,
problem
but
one
I've been
bit.
around long enough to hear of it and see it and be disrespected. And I think you have to provide something for these people.
He has great people working for him and they're terrific workers and they all
Absolutely.
get along terrifically.
Yeah, I'm not picking on him. He's doing a tough job,
Mhm.
but we have to provide something for the service people. And, you know, I'm not saying we have to spend $40,000 in putting on a public bathroom with a flush toilet, but there's got to be some kind of basic accommodation.
Well, let's put it at White Walls.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the, what's that trail?
Oh, yeah.
Bridge up
The
beside
Bay to Ocean Trail.
No, you're talking about the
Well, that
swamp.
was my
the
first.
swamps, yeah, put it right there.
Where?
Oh, that's in Bridgehampton property.
Yeah.
It's just on the other side.
Bridgehampton.
Anyway, I've stunk up the meeting. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Any other topics? Got a motion to adjourn? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you, Lisa. Have fun.